Hello Shiny viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. In our previous episode, we made the observation that ENTJs tend to be ectomorphic, and we also gave reasons why this may be the case using the theory of evolution. So in this episode, we're going to push this theory further by extending this theory onto the other MBTI types. So presume we are all naturally selected and born into our MBTI types, just like we were born into different horoscopes. Then it makes sense for us to develop certain bodily characteristics to fulfill that role. So to kickstart our discussion, let's start with the Isfj and the ESFJs. So in the primitive times, I think that these MBTI types are the most likely to be staying at home tending to children. They are very nurturant. To fulfill their role of the caregivers, I think it makes sense for them to be meatier and bigger size. Why? Imagine a woman who is very big size, one arm can carry 3 babies already, right? This arm can carry 3 babies, 6 babies together, right? Then can fit on whatever. And being meaty is advantageous because it provides a lot of cushion for all the infants, so they don't get hurt.
Too thick that pillows provide backside protection too.
And there will be a lot of bodily warmth. This is really advantageous for the human species. Imagine the ENTJ tending to children. The baby comes right. I pain, he pain, because very bony, right? So in this regard, the ISFJs and the ESFJs have a tendency to be endomorphs. They can grow big easily. And it is quite difficult for them to lose this weight because they need this weight evolutionarily. So evolutionarily, they are programmed to be bigger. These people are also very unlikely in the primitive times to go out to fight for the tribe. This is also sensible because if a big sized person goes out to war or goes out to hunt, they will sure not outrun the tiger and they will be eaten, right? So stay at home, tend to the kids. This is what the ISFJs and ESFJs in the primitive times will do. Of course, this is not to say that in our modern times, ISFJs and ESFJs are all fat. So in our modern times, there are gyms, there are swimming pools, there are a lot of different ways to keep slim. Even medication can help you. So it is now a matter of choice. But what I'm saying over here is that genetically they may be programmed to be bigger size, which is why I have observed that a lot of ISFJs that are around me, they tend to be slightly meatier. Personally, I know of a very obese person and he is an ISFJ. The moment he sat on my chair at home, my chair broke. Moving on, let's talk about the SE users. The SE users are the ISFP, ESFP, ESTP, and the ISTP. Now, in the primitive era, these people are the workers, they are the hunters, they are the warriors. So what this means is that they may be built with the gene to eat a lot. Why? Because they need a lot of energy to fight.
But you know that you can't fight the moonlight.
Not only will they be able to store extra food as a source of energy, they also can build muscles easily. So in the modern times today, if the ISTPs, ESTPs, ISFPs and the ESFPs do not do a lot of exercise, they do not run about or do not keep fit, they have the propensity to become big size. Why? Because based on this theory or based on this argument, they are programmed to eat a lot and be big. Somehow, this is also consistent with the observations of all the SE users around me. Very curiously, I've observed TE users. TE users tend to be on the thin side. Now, I want to make a comparison between the INTJ and the INTP because both are supposed to be thinking types. And they actually look very similar. In my circle of friends, I do know of a lot of INTJs and INTPs. And in this section, we are talking about INTJ males and INTP males. I find that INTJ males appear to fall into 2 very distinct subtypes. The first type is the ectomorph. I have seen INTJs that are very tall and slender. I've also seen INTJs that are very small built. So small built is one thing, they do not look like Tweety birds at all. So they are small built and also very slim and compact. So there is another very interesting trait about the INTJs that I know. They are very fair.
Guys, as an INTJ, as an introvert,
So for a very long period of time, I've been observing all the people around me. I try to see whether there are physical characteristics that I can narrow down to a MBTI type. So I've explored other characteristics such as short-sightedness. I find that there is no link between short-sightedness and MBTI. However, body size and body shape does seem to matter. The INTPs that I know also seem to fall under these two types. They have the tall and slender one, and also the small built and compact ones. INTPs also tended to be on the fairer side. However, there's one slight difference. The INTPs tend to be a bigger, meatier version of the INTJ counterparts. Well, in my personal research, I have found that there are three body types: the ectomorph, the endomorph, and the mesomorph. However, I think that this classification is too narrow because there are only three categories. So I went online to search for more categories, so to see if I can fit the MBTI types in. And because now I'm doing a section on the INTJ and the INTP males, I actually went to Google gay tribes. And this is what I found. So I think I did a good thing because there are a lot of gay classifications of males. The first one that I found is the Twink. At first I thought the Twink is a bony, very young, skinny looking person, but I was wrong. The actual definition of a Twink is a person in the late teens that look young and attractive.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
However, twins can also be extended to refer to guys who are older but actually have a very young look. So very curiously, I think that the INTJs and the INTPs that I know of can fit into this category. The INTJs and the INTPs generally look young. So maybe in the gay sense, they are twinky. In fact, if I were to further distinguish between the INTJ and the INTP in terms of looks, I would say that the INTJ is geeky and the INTP is nerdy. But of course, this is going to be very generic because I have seen very geeky INTPs as well. And what's the difference between geeks and jerks? What's the difference between geeks and nerds? Jerks. So while researching gay tribes, I've also found a very special word, and that is twunk. T-W-U-N-K. I don't know what it is, and when I Google the word twunk for images, woo! I see a lot of naked men. Yeah, totally naked. Go and do it yourself and you will see. So the twunk is basically a person who is very ripped, very muscular, attractive maybe from here to here, and yet also have a very attractive, very young looking face. And that will be a twunk. INTJs and INTPs, I think generally may not fall into this category because especially for the INTJs, I don't think they are willing to spend 3 or 4 hours in a gym exercising to the point where they look like gorgeous. Then ENTJ won't do that. Maybe the INTJ is probably also unlikely to do that because it's a waste of time. Yeah, probably. INTPs? I think INTPs are likely to gym as well. Some of the INTPs that I know are really very lazy. But the more hardworking INTPs, I don't see them gymming that much. Yeah. Well, anyway, I do not know what's underneath their clothes. So I would say that they are unlikely to be twunks. I don't think they are ripped. So this means that the INTJs and the INTPs will not fall under the category of the jock. So the jock will be an individual who is very muscular and gym fit. And of course, 6-pack, 8-pack. INTJs, INTPs, I don't think will all belong to this category. Which type will fall into this category?
이 몸 좋네요.
경찰들 다 이 정도는 됩니다.
If I were to say, probably an SE user. So just now I was saying that SE users have the propensity to actually become big size, right? But now with the gym, a lot of the SE users are actually very fit. So there are other categories of the gay tribe, and that would include the bear. I have not seen INTJs and INTPs bears before. Another category would be the uncle. Here I have some comments. Even though the INTJ and the INTP male may look young, they could be in their mid-30s but still have a very boyish face. However, their hair gives them away. Many INTJs and INTPs in their mid-30s are already balding. I think they think too much, that's why the hair drop. So is my observation consistent with what you have observed of the INTJs and INTPs and the other MBTI types around you? Of course, the purpose of this video is not to condemn any body type. It's just to say that probably if there is a link between MBTI type and the body type, then it could be genetically engineered that way. Of course, in our modern society, we have choices. We could have the gene that actually makes us grow bigger or meatier. However, we can consciously control it by exercising or taking some slimming courses. So personally, as an ENTJ, my SE is very low. I am not very interested in gymming, so I am really happy that I am an ectomorph, that I will not grow fat. But of course, this does not mean that I am free of any medical problems. Well, viewers, how do you like this episode? I think this is a very curious, interesting episode that I've actually thought about, and I really hope that you like it as well. I hope it makes sense for you too. If you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can bring you more MBTI and fun stuff. Okay, I'm going to sign off now, and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye!